Our opening thought this morning comes from Hannah Arendt, from her work, The Origins of Totalitarianism. She writes, "Before mass leaders seize the power to fit reality to their lives, their propaganda is marked by its extreme contempt for facts as such. For in their opinion, fact depends entirely on the power of man who can fabricate it." Our next reading comes from H.M. Forster, from Secret Friends, The Ramblings of a Madman in Search of a Soul. More recently, we've reached the lowest common denominator, and populism, politics, and media have dispensed with old-fashioned values such as truth, honor, and chivalry to the point of arguing in an Orwellian way that up is down, wrong is right, and truth is fake news. Okay, you get another reading from Hannah Arendt. Can't get enough readings from Hannah Arendt. The Origins of Totalitarianism again. A mixture of gullibility and cynicism had been an outstanding characteristic of mob mentality before it became an everyday phenomenon of masses. In an ever-changing, incomprehensible world, the masses had reached the point where they would, at the same time, believe everything and nothing, think that everything was possible and that nothing was true. The mixture in itself was remarkable enough because it spelled the end of the illusion that gullibility was a weakness of unsuspecting primitive souls and cynicism the vice of superior and refined minds. Mass propaganda discovered that its audience was ready at all times to believe the worst, no matter how absurd, and did not particularly object to being deceived because it held every statement to be a lie anyhow. The totalitarian mass leaders based their propaganda on the correct psychological assumption that under such conditions, one could make people believe the most fantastic statements one day and trust that if the next day they were given irrefutable proof of their falsehood, they would take refuge in cynicism instead of deserting the leaders who had lied to them. They would protest that they had known all along that the statement was a lie and would admire the leaders for their superior tactical cleverness. Democracy cannot survive in a post-truth society. The truth and evidence-based critical thinking matter if we are to develop the shared understanding of reality that is required for beloved community to be possible. Autocrats know this. Autocrats know that democracy cannot survive in a context where there is no shared truth, no shared value for the truth, which is why they flood our society with lies and propaganda. Their attacks on the truth have been so thorough and successful that we are now experiencing a kind of post-truth insanity, kind of a post-truth neurosis that has tragically infected our entire society and is not limited wholly to one side of the political spectrum. For example, on more than one occasion, I have seen quotes attributed to the wrong author in posts on social media. It's a minor example, but the examples get larger as we go along here. And when I cite the actual author, tell the person who posted this quote that they've attributed to someone they admire to make the quote seem more powerful and more influential than it would be otherwise. When I cite the actual author, many people respond that it doesn't matter who said it, as long as they agree with it. But the truth, they did this with Pope Leo over and over and over again. So many fake Pope Leo quotes, and sometimes they take a quote that someone who is not as well known said, and they put it in the mouths of someone who is more well known. But the truth matters, including truth about who did or who did not write or say something. This post-truth mentality across the whole political spectrum can also be seen in how people interact with satire. I can appreciate satire, and at times I have shared satire, and I almost always, in this day and age, put a note. This is satire, because I can't count on everyone realizing that it's satire. So I make sure that people know, put a little satire alert at the bottom of it. But a lot of times people share something that is satire, that they know is satire, and they share it as if it were true. They put it out there as if it were true. And sometimes they don't know it's satire, and they put it out there as if it were true. But when they know it's satire, if we know it's satire and we share it as if it were true, we're actually perpetuating a lie. And we are part of the problem of why our community is so broken and divided. I've heard the opinion expressed that in the fight against fascism, it is appropriate to use any means necessary, including the use of lies and misinformation, as long as it is damaging to the fascists. Now, I am more than willing to admit that there are times when it is fitting to lie in the resistance to fascism. Everybody's looking at the ethics professor he's saying it's okay. There are times. If the Nazis come to your door and ask you if you're hiding a Jewish family in your house, then you should lie. And not only should we should lie as well and as convincingly as we possibly can lie. However, if we totally give up on truth in the fight against fascism, we are actually contributing to the post-truth hellscape upon which fascism has always and will always thrive. Fascism thrives on the big lie. Fascism thrives on a post-truth society. Lies spread much faster than the truth. But I refuse to give up on the truth because the lies and half-truths of propaganda erode trust and are pernicious for all humanity. We will either have to learn how to recognize and value the truth, or we will perish in a post-truth society. Every time that people share fake quotes or fake photos on social media, we are contributing to the post-truth society that the fascists and their propagandists are attempting to create, flooding social media with, quote, "I will post anything that I think hurts my political foe" type posts without any evidence of the post's veracity actually helps the fascists more than it hurts them. They need to perpetuate a post-truth society to remain in power. As we're gathered here this morning, there's a little gathering in Washington, D.C. that's happening right now. Thousands of Christian nationalists are gathered there to promote their Christian nationalist vision at an event they are calling Rededicate 250. Their vision for our country is white, Eurocentric, and patriarchal. Their views on religious freedom focus almost exclusively on their belief that they should be free to enforce their Christian nationalist beliefs on the whole of our country. and they have allied themselves with autocrats and oligarchs to accomplish this goal. Their agenda has nothing to do with the portrayal of the life and teachings of Jesus that are found in the Bible that they claim is so central to their lives. Their religion has become a post-truth form of Christianity, used almost exclusively to promote the alliance of oligarchy and white Christian nationalism. In a society in which religion is so important in the lives of so many people, religious leaders end up being extremely influential in the lives of many people, and it is imperative that religious leaders not contribute to hurling us into a post-truth society, like the speakers speaking in Washington, D.C. are doing today. We all have the responsibility of modeling that truth and evidence-based critical thinking still matter, and we must resist the temptation to use lies and propaganda to further whatever our cause may be. In a world of fiercely urgent challenges that require science to understand those challenges more fully and to address them more effectively, expressions of religion that require persons to believe in miracles that contradict science in order to be a member of that religion are contributing to the anti-scientific mindset that is so prevalent in what has become our post-truth society. It's important for religion to be open to what we can learn about the world through the scientific method and not become a barrier to the pursuit of truth wherever it may be found. It's probably not surprising that I think education has a critical role to play in resisting our fall into a post-truth society, and it's critical that education do all it can to avoid becoming propaganda. The goal of propaganda is to persuade people regardless of what the truth may be. Education should focus on seeking the truth and cultivating wisdom, not simply persuading for the sake of persuasion. Education should help us to be able to recognize and correct the misinformation and disinformation that are so often present in the propaganda that is permeating our society. Seeking what is true is important. Being humble about being able to know fully what is true is also important, even if it makes us uncomfortable or does not agree with our worldview or our political preferences. We also cannot ignore the effect that AI is having in contributing to a post-truth society. In addition to AI contributing to a crisis of academic dishonesty, in education, and a decline in critical thinking and creativity among students, and in addition to AI's pernicious effects on the environment, including the use of massive amounts of electricity and water, AI is also being used to accelerate our fall into a post-truth society. The algorithms that social media use to manipulate and addict us are AI in action. Most of the fake posts and fake photos being shared all over social media are also AI generated. And now we are bombarded with AI-generated stories and propaganda that often have little to no factual foundation, little to no connection with reality. Many of these AI-generated propaganda stories have a common structure. Perhaps you've seen some of them on your social media feeds. First, a political figure is portrayed as saying something nasty about another political figure or celebrity. The political figure that has been portrayed as being attacked is then portrayed as responding with some amazing comeback that totally destroys the person who attacked them. Oftentimes there's a headline, so-and-so totally destroyed by so-and-so, right? The reader finds satisfaction in seeing a political figure whom they dislike being publicly humiliated by a political figure or celebrity whom they like. And in the glow of this satisfaction, they share the AI-generated story on their feed for their like-minded friends and followers to share in witnessing the public takedown of their political opponent. Feels good. The problem is that many of these, if not most of these AI-generated stories, they have no basis in fact whatsoever. It's not like they took factual things and said, okay, AI, write a story about it. Oftentimes, there's no basis in fact whatsoever. They are simply AI-generated rage bait meant to get clicks and promote propaganda without regard for the truth. People share these stories because they think they are participating in the needed resistance against very real threats to our democracy, but they end up contributing to the very post-truth society in which it is almost impossible for a vibrant democracy to survive. As we engage in the much-needed work to resist autocracy and fascism, let us commit ourselves to telling the truth as best we can know it, truth that is based in evidence, truth that is open to correction, open to new insights. Perhaps this will help us heal some of the divisions that we have in our communities. Perhaps it will help us to develop the shared understanding of reality that makes beloved community possible. At the very least, it's better than continuing to descend into a post-truth hellscape of our own creation.